What's up? It's your girl Kia, and I am back for another video. And today we are talking about the Goya Foods controversy. I'm excited to talk about this because I have a lot of feelings like this. I've actually been going back and forth on Twitter for the past 2 days with people talking about Goya Foods and kind of putting some people in check about the boycott and kind of trying to correct a lot of conversation and throwing in my own shade and jokes every now and then. If you're interested in seeing my conversation on Twitter, hop over to Twitter. It's Kia Shakur on Twitter, and you can see all the commentary going back and forth through everybody. So Goya Foods. Goya Foods is a family-owned Hispanic food company that not only serves the U.S. but serves a lot of Spanish-speaking countries. Before I lick my lips to death, like I do in a lot of these videos, I'm just gonna Carmex it out right now. But they're a very large brand. So I've been using Goya Foods since I was able to shop in college. It is a great product. I have always loved Goya. Some of the flavors that they include inside of their beans, inside of their seasoning, their adobo seasoning, a lot of stuff you won't find in like the craft brand when they try to do the Hispanic flavored stuff. It doesn't work, but Goya just definitely has a knack for that. So recently, the president of Goya, whose name is Bob Unanye, I don't want to pronounce his last name correctly, but I know that I am. He went to the White House when Trump started to present his executive order for Latino and Hispanic economic expansion. And he went to the White House and basically said that he's happy that Trump is. What is the exact quote? I actually want to give the exact quote. Oh, that everyone is so blessed to have Donald Trump as a leader. So that quote went everywhere. That video went everywhere. And all of a sudden now there is a boycott of Goya Foods by the Latino community. I understand the boycott. I get it. And let me explain why. So throughout Donald Trump's presidency, even when he was running for president, he went out of his way to make it seem like Mexicans in particular were murderers and rapists, and they are not the kind of people that we want in our country. Then his followers started to say, we're all for, Mexicans as long as they come here legally. I don't know if anybody who says it understands how hard the immigration process is to become an American citizen or how expensive it is, but I'll break that down in a few minutes. But he definitely made the murder rapist comment. He made the gang member comment about the Hispanic gang that he kept saying, I forgot what they're called. He kept saying that they're from Mexico, but they're not. They actually were founded in LA. They're Mexican people, but they were founded in the US. They weren't founded in Mexico. So that's a different conversation. So fast forward to when the hurricanes happened in Puerto Rico. He didn't do enough for the people of Puerto Rico. He treated them like they were not American citizens. Puerto Ricans they are a commonwealth of the United States. Are they a state? No, but they are of the commonwealth of the United States and should have been treated like Americans, and they weren't. He went out of his way to kind of talk poorly about the mayor of San Juan and how they're handling things, and they're so this, they're so that, we gave all this money, and everything that he said was not true. There was not millions and millions and millions of money given to Puerto Rico and then it just magically disappeared. Those funds were used, but they just weren't enough to get the country back on its feet. And I'm not just speaking from, I just read this on the news. No, my husband's aunt has been living in Puerto Rico since she got married to her husband, Louis, way back in the day. They have 2 sons and 1 daughter, my husband's cousins, who still live down there. And it took them 6 months to get electricity back in their home. She actually went back to work as soon as the roads were clear, and she worked in the military base, and they were using generators up until a year, I want to say. It was a lot of things going on, and they were basically, they were ignored. So Trump has not really shown that he values and respects the Latino community. Another part that gets frustrating with this is that now that the Latinos are boycotting Goya, now there are some other Latinos who support Trump who are just like, oh my God, like I'm going to make some Republican rice and beans and make Republican sauce, and then I'm going to drink some liberal tears because my community, it's so silly. But who I see that coming from is the Latinos who pass. And what I'm saying is Latinos who are Cuban a lot of the times, who have dealt with communism in Cuba. Trust me, I know that too, about how that went, because my uncle is from Cuba, has been here since the early 80s and barely speaks English and would never go back to Cuba in a million years. He lives in the United States. But the way they come off like they're better than other Latinos has been a long-standing thing. I have seen it personally, how Latinos who pass as white, who can pass as white, tend to just want to be included in the larger mass of white people in the United States so that they can belong, and kind of look down on other dark-skinned Latino people or people of color. So I feel like a lot of these Latinos who can pass are jumping on this bandwagon as another thing where they can look down on their other Latino counterparts and say, see, you don't know what you're talking about. What are you doing? Why are you not? You should be supporting Goya, and I support Goya. You should be supporting the Trump, and Trump has done so much amazing things for all Latino community. He has not done everything for the entire Latino community. For Cuban immigrants who have seen what communism looks like and they don't want to go back to that, Trump would be more for them. I get that. But other people, Mexicans, Puerto Ricans, Nicaraguans, Colombians, Peruvians, they don't see that. They are looking at, okay, wow, we're coming into a country where the president doesn't like what I look like. He doesn't like where, what I represent. Even think about it. When there was a caravan that was coming from South America of all these people who were just trying to get away from the violence and the gangs and the destruction of their communities to come to the States, they were treated like rabid dogs who were bringing viruses and murder and rape. They weren't treated like, okay, these are actual refugees that we need to try to help. And that to me is concerning. And that's where a lot of the Latino people kind of got the vibe of, okay, if Goya Foods is saying, we're so blessed to have you as a leader, then that means you, the brand that we love, isn't supporting us, which that's a problem. And I can see that point. I mean, Goya Foods in a Spanish household and a Latino household is a big deal. Like it is every product you buy. Like I don't shop at a regular grocery store. I haven't shopped at a regular grocery store in about 5 years. I go to a place called Key Foods. Shout out to all my New Yorkers who know what Key Foods is, but it sells 90% of Spanish products and then 10% of everything else. Very little American products are in that store. And that's their consumer. And for them to kind of say that, I see where the hurt comes in at. So now what do we have? We have all the people on Twitter who love Trump now saying, I'm going to go buy Goya Foods. Not because it's a Hispanic brand that has done a lot for the Hispanic community, and I'll also go over that, but just because Trump says that we should. So this guy supports Trump, so we support the brand. That is infuriating to me. We shouldn't be supporting them because Trump supports them. We should be supporting them because Goya is an American brand started by Hispanic people who immigrated here, and they have an amazing product. Not only that, they donate to multiple causes. They give tons of product to food pantries across the world. When the volcanoes hit Guatemala, they were the ones who donated 3 tons of food. 3 tons of food they donated. When hurricanes hit Puerto Rico, they were the first ones to donate pounds and pallets of food to make sure that people can get off the ground. So for me personally, I don't plan on boycotting Goya. I don't like what he said because I don't think Trump supports all Latinos. I think he only supports the Latinos who support him. That's a problem for me. So I will continue to buy Goya, but I don't want like what the comment said from their CEO. So let's go back to the immigration comment that I hear a lot of, again, Latinos who pass, what I hear them say. They're always just like, well, you should come here the right way. Everybody should come here the right way. Like my parents did. Yes, your parents did. A lot of the Latinos here, their parents did, because the immigration process wasn't like it is now. The immigration process now is insane. The reason why I know that, quick story, not going to say these people's names, but they are in my husband's realm of people. They have been in the States for going on 10 years now, maybe more. They have done everything you were supposed to do, every single thing. They have hired lawyers, they have gone to classes, they have filed paperwork, they refile paperwork. They make sure they have all their checks and balances in a row to become US citizens because that's what they want. When Trump got into office, something happened, something really weird happened, and they were not allowed to re-enlist or restart their work visas to continue with the lawyer paperwork, and were denied. They both, who had really, really good jobs, had to quit their jobs, find a way to get more money, borrow money from family members just to continue the immigration process, but they're not working. And they're doing whatever it takes just to make sure they can become U.S. citizens. It's taken them this long. And these are people who don't have background records in their country. They don't have any issues, They both have good jobs. Like I say their jobs because they watch this video, they'll know I'm talking about them. But it's a struggle to become a U.S. citizen. And when you don't have things in process to help people get through the process, that's why they come here illegally. Even I know that. As a Republican, I feel like there needs to be serious immigration reform. Serious immigration reform. It should not take good people 10 years to become a U.S. citizen if they want to do so. It should not be where we have people coming to our border who are saying, yo, this was awful back here. I had to deal with rapes. I had to deal with this. I had to have my house burned down. There should be a refugee process of, okay, let's get your claim started. And it's not like that. It's almost like, oh, you're here from Mexico? Get out. We don't want you. We don't want you. And for the other people who say, oh, why don't they file back in their country and then just wait for the approval? That's not how that works. I know people like to think that's a thing. It's not a thing. You can't, you can do it, but the process is a lot longer. But I don't think people should be coming here illegally, but I understand why they do, and I understand what they're looking for, and I understand that sometimes you just don't have the money to go through the process. I'm sorry, it's a double-edged sword for me when it comes to immigration. I just hate when some of the, Latino to class pass are all just saying this, well, you can just come here legally. Like it's easy. Like it's as easy as baking cookies from crescent rolls. Like, oh, you just wrap this up, you put it in the oven, you pull it out in 15 minutes, ta-da! Now you're a US citizen. Yeah, no, that's not how it works. So I already said that I will be buying Goya foods. I've talked about the Latino situation. Okay, so white people are now buying Goya foods. What does that mean? I already talked about how so many thoughts are flowing through my head. I'm sorry if I sound like I'm rambling, but white people are now buying Goya foods because Trump told them to buy Goya foods. So where does Goya go from here? They have to find a way to reconnect in a meaningful way with the Latino community after what he said. I know a lot of people who are Trump supporters. It's like, no, they don't. They just need to be who they are, and they're a great company. Well, how do you know? You just started buying them because Trump told you that you should buy them. You're not buying them because of all the amazing things that they've done that I've known about. So what are you talking about? The Latino community, the brown community, that's Indians, that's Asians, that is West Indians, Caribbeans, Latinos, Black people, we buy the product. We are their target audience. White America is not their target audience. So yeah, Trump supporters will buy Goya for a week. They'll buy Goya and donate to a food pantry, or they'll buy 3 or 4 products and let it sit and catch dust in their cabinet. But they are not the everyday consumer who has made Goya a $7.3 million company. We are. And they have to find a way to reconnect. Do I blame him for what he said? No. And let me tell you why. Last presidency, President Obama also had an executive order that got signed, and Bob, I'm not gonna say his name, but CEO Bob went and so this says great things about Obama. So he's not like he didn't go to Obama's like, oh, F him or whatever, I'm only gonna go to Trump. That's not what he did. He's gone to both. So I don't blame him. I don't. He showed respect to one president. You have to show respect to the next president. It's just how you play the game. But even with him doing that, he has to reconnect with the Latino community because we are, all of us, we are his core consumers. We don't just buy the product 3 or 4. Like if you go into my cabinet right now, there are at least 25 Goya products just in cans. If you go over to where I have all of my seasonings and my olive oils and my white wines, that's mostly Goya products. And then over on the seasoning side, that's Goya products too. Like I have a lot of Goya stuff, and I'm sorry, I enjoy it and I will continue to use it, but I understand why people don't want to. I really get it. And I'm tired of all the boycotts. Let's talk about that real quick. The boycotts. Ted Cruz, if you don't sit your self-hating butt down, I am going to scream. I cannot stand Ted Cruz. Rafael only pulls out the fact that he is Spanish when it values him the most. He's not out here standing up for Latino rights or marching with fellow Hispanics for different things. He only pulls it out when it's needed. So all of a sudden, instead of being Ted Cruz from Texas, he's now Rafael, the proud, whatever. Like, I love being Spanish and we need to support the Spanish brand and I'm going to support them. This boycott is it's a bunch of bullshit because you don't even like who you are. And I hate politicians like that who pull out their culture when it suits them best. Nikki Haley does the same thing. Her name is not Nikki. Her name is Namrata. She is Indian. The same thing with Bobby Jindal. Bobby Jindal is not Bobby Jindal's Indian. His real name is not Bobby. And all these people of color who like to whitewash themselves as much as possible. And then when it's time for them to join their community, they hop right back in like nothing happened. And that's infuriating. Another thing that has gives me an issue about what Ted Cruz is saying is that so it's awful to boycott. It was great to boycott not Nike because he was all for the Nike boycott after they used Colin Kaepernick as their spokesperson to promote his message. So it's great to do that. Burn your Nikes, boycott Nike, use your economic power. But when the other side is feeling slighted, how dare you guys boycott Goya just because he supports the president? Well, how dare you not support Nike when the person spokesperson for Nike is just trying to stop police brutality? That's always been what it's been about. So I personally, I'm not really a boycott person. I just don't care enough. If it's a brand that I like, I'm going to continue to purchase the product. If you have an issue with that, you can drop them in the comments, and I really don't care. It doesn't matter because at the end of the day, it's about my household and what I need to do and what works best for my kid who goes through shoes like nobody's business. And Goya, because it's everything that we cook, including my mother-in-law who's on her way here. I just can't boycott everything. I just don't believe boycotts work that well. I only because especially when they're started off by Twitter, because there is no real organization there. It just doesn't make sense. So that's my thought on that. So that was a lot of speaking I just did. It's a lot of rambling, and I wish I would have done this live so I can answer people's questions, but I really wish there was better conversations that can be had with Hispanics and people of color, with Republicans like myself, and with Democrats. I'm not calling them liberals. I feel like now the Republican Party has turned the word liberal into some awful curse word that it's not. My mother is a Democrat. My father's a Democrat. My brother's a Democrat. They're not libtards. I would never call somebody who has a different political view as me a libtard. I mean, do people not realize that sounds like the other word that's a negative word for special needs people? Are we not attributing that to that? Like, I would never call somebody that. I am a proud Republican. I am not a Trump supporter. I will never be a Trump supporter because Trump's not a Republican. Trump does not hold Republican values, and I've said that in multiple videos. Am I going to be out here on the side of the road with a sign saying F Trump? Absolutely not. I'm not doing that. But when I see him do things that are inappropriate, or I can understand why people on the other side of the aisle are upset or disgusted, I'm going to speak up on it and speak out about it. That's just me. I'm always going to do that. I'm always going to be that person. I am my mother's daughter. And I wish I could show some of the tweets that I saw from, other Hispanic people who, again, it's always the ones who pass. And I wish I could express that more and more about how weird this is for how the Hispanics who pass treat the darker skinned ones. Another story. This will be my last story. I know this video is getting really, really lengthy, but I'm in the dance scene here in Orlando, Florida. Love being in the dance scene. I'm a ballroom dancer, salsa, cha-cha, and bachata. I love it. And the way the darker skinned people get treated on the dance scene, not even having to do anything with their dancing, just with the way they look. Lighter skinned passing Latinos won't dance with them. We'll look down on them. We'll make fun of them. We'll talk crap about them. I have gotten crap talked about me. It stopped to a certain point because they realized if you're going to talk bad about me, then you better be ready to knuckle up. And I've shown that, even on that times I probably shouldn't, but I've had to show that because you're not going to disrespect me because you think you're better than me because your skin is lighter than mine or because you get considered white. That you're not going to talk to me all kinds of crazy. So it's everywhere. It's prevalent in the community, and not just in the Latino community, in the Indian community. My husband is Indian, but he is darker skinned. His cousins are lighter skinned, and they have different names for people who are different colors. Hassan Minaj talked about it. But it's weird that within a culture, people talk down about people who share the same, again, culture as they do, just because their skin color is different. It doesn't make any sense. So that is my Goya rant. And I hope you understand my point of view. I hope you guys want to get the conversation started. I'm always eager to explain why I'm Republican. I'm always eager to explain why Trump is not, and why he is one of the worst presidents we've ever had. And yeah, so those are my comments. Let's get the conversation started. And follow me on Twitter at Kia Shakur. Find me on Instagram, and I am Kia Giovanni. And I will see you guys in the next video. Bye.